Welcome to Slash Bash, where today I am bringing you a petty revenge Reddit video. In our first story, my high school teacher called me a loser who would never amount to anything. I ran into her 20 years later in an elevator. Let's jump right in. I went to high school in a small southeastern US town. During my junior year, 11th grade, I had a US history teacher who always acted like she was better than anyone else. She was the type that would always say things semi-jokingly about students, which she thought were funny but came off as pretty mean and hurtful. Unfortunately, she was really popular with parents and the administration because, to be fair, she was a good teacher and her students did well year after year on the AP exams, taken to earn college credits if you got a high enough score. So she got away with insulting whomever she wanted to insult. Also, she was the type who bragged about being married to a professor. She actually had an affair with him when she was a student, and he was married to his first wife, but I digress. At the time, I was dating a guy, also a junior, who happened to be the friendly neighborhood school drug dealer. This was the 80s, so pot and mushrooms were the go-to recreation. Nothing too hard, and looking back, I think it was a far more innocent time. Our school was a notorious party school and sat adjacent to the university's dorms. The university was a notorious party school as well, so the town was known around the region as a party place. Most parents took it in stride because many of them were university employees or local business owners. Our teachers were pretty cool too for the most part. Many of them went to the same university, so they knew the town and the local vibe. However, this teacher liked to talk crap about the party-type kids, saying they would not amount to anything, end up in jail, die of overdoses, etc. She was always picking on us, saying we were bad eggs and losers. One day, grocery shopping with my mom, we saw her in the parking lot and she came over to speak to us. She started off by saying that I was doing poorly in her class. I was not. I had an A at the time. And that my grades were declining because I was dating that boy, in the most dramatic, snarky southern accent you can imagine. She then proceeds to tell my mom that she was raising a junkie and a hoe, and I would not amount to anything. My mom shot something equally snarky back. I can't remember exactly what, but she came to my defense swiftly, and my teacher scurried off with a shocked look as my mom embarrassed her pretty severely. My parents were the type of parents that were pretty laid back. They knew I was not doing anything worse than what they did in college. I just started partying in high school. Looking back, maybe they were a bit too laid back, lol. The rest of the school year was uncomfortable, to say the least. I dreaded going to her class. She seemed to make my life miserable at every chance and now worked in insults about my mom too. I was really hurt and never forgot how mean she was. I did graduate the next year, went to college, worked for many years in government, then went back to school and got my PhD. I became a professor at the university in my high school town. I never ended up being a junkie or a hoe, however. Riding the elevator one morning to my office, guess who gets on with me? Yep. She was going to visit her husband, who was a professor in another department in the same building. I was not going to say a thing, just stand there biting my tongue, but she recognized me, but couldn't remember my name, so I introduced myself, and she exclaims, "Oh, Aphasia! I can't believe it's you! How are you?" I gave a polite but cool response, and she said in her same snarky tone, "What are you doing here at this school?" I looked her dead in the eye and said, "Going to my office." "Your office?" she replied. "Oh, aren't you the funny one?" I did not say anything, but when I got off the elevator, I turned around, pointed down the hall to my office. Down the hall on the left, this department. If you want to drop by, ask for Dr. Aphasia. And I smiled the fakest smile, flipped her off, and said, "Good to see you," returning the snarky attitude. Additional, mildly amusing information. I worked with her husband a few times on various committees. He used to try to get me to go to dinner or to go out with him. I think just her knowing I was a professor was petty enough for me to feel gratified. Thanks for listening. Story number 2, I tricked my mom into finally admitting that my cooking was good. I've been enrolled in a cooking school for over a year, and my mom, she's never been supportive. Because I dropped out of a nursing program to get into a cooking school, she's always making snide comments about how I should have been a nurse or a lawyer, or how I'll only ever be a subservient housewife with this, and when I do make something, she always criticizes it. Like she's Gordon Ramsay or something. Oh, too much salt. It's undercooked. It looks like crap. Even though pretty much everyone else says the opposite. She's looking for any little thing she can critique about my cooking. She keeps telling me I can't cook and need to get into a real career. I've cooked 3-course dinners for the family, and they always get positive reviews except for her. She had a party for her work friends. I made a whole tray of my special take on homemade meatballs, a recipe I conceptualized myself, my signature dish. Everyone kept going back and getting more, so many that they ran out. I asked my mom what she thought. She said, "They were drunk, they couldn't taste anything." So I figured if I wanted to get her to compliment my cooking, I'd have to trick her. I cooked her a meal, one of her favorites from scratch, her biggest weakness that she can never resist. I dressed it up to look professional and put it in a generic to-go box and had my boyfriend take the video of me preparing it from start to finish. I called her and told her that my boyfriend and I were eating at this diner that doesn't exist, made up a fake name for it and everything. I told her they had her favorite meal and asked if she wanted us to bring her one. Of course, she said yes. I brought the dish and told her more about the fake diner. She started eating it and complimented how good it was, how she wanted to go there and get another one. After she was almost through with the meal, I asked her for her honest opinion so we could write a review on Yelp. She went on for 10 minutes about how great it was, and then I sprung it on her, that I cooked it. Her tone changed. She put the fork down and said she was lying, that it tasted like crap. My boyfriend showed her the video, she Googled the restaurant, and it didn't show up. She started pointing out flaws with the meal, like how there was too much sauce and it was really spicy and burned her mouth. I asked her why she almost finished the whole thing if it was so spicy. She didn't say anything, so I just asked her if she was ready to admit it. She said no. So we left, but then I spotted her eating it from the other room. I asked her again, and she laughed and finally told me yes, that I am a good chef. So, after a year of doubting I was a good chef and holding my dreams back, she finally admitted it. Story number 3. You say dogs barking is just what dogs do? Huh. I had a neighbor that had a dog that, I crap you not, barked from about 7 p.m. till 5 a.m. non-stop. They worked nights, I believe. They kept it outside. I knocked numerous times and they said, "Dogs bark, what do you expect?" Their house was directly behind mine. We shared a divided wall. I recorded their dog for a full day. The minute they brought him in and felt like they were sleeping, I popped my phone into the dock and played it on my stereo full blast facing their yard. This started around 9 a.m. By about 12 noon, they came over raving mad to my wall asking me to shut my dog up. I said, "It's your dog. I just recorded him. Since you miss out on what dogs do, I'm just playing the radio during normal, allowable city times, and I will continue to do this every day." Funny enough, they started bringing the dog in at night after that. This is John from /Bash. Thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed the video and want to be the first to know when the next one drops, subscribe and click on that notifications bell. I'd love for you to drop a like, share it with your friends. See you in the next one.